All right, full court fam, it's time to circle back on our bold predictions from the DePaul game. Because when St. John said statement win, Caroline, they absolutely meant it.
Final score, St. John 79 to Paul 66. And Erin, this one was about pressure, early momentum, stellar defense, and forcing DePaul to play uncomfortable basketball for the full 40 minutes.
Let's see if we'll be as uncomfortable, Caroline, when we go through these predictions as DePaul was in this game. So the first prediction number one, was that turnovers would decide the game. We said St. John's would win this game by winning the chaos, and that's exactly what happened. The Red Storm forced 12 DePaul turnovers and turned those mistakes into 15 points on the other end.
And Erin, that happened quickly. Stats show us that 9 of the 15 points happened in the first half. That's identity basketball, active hands, pressure defense, and instant conversion. DePaul never found a rhythm because every mistake had consequences.
And part of those consequences had to do with Zuby Ejiofor, our prediction number two. We said Zuby would control the paint, and he absolutely did. We went 50% here, Caroline. We predicted a double-double with 4+ blocks. Now, while we didn't get that double-double, he did contribute 9 points, and he did claim the paint with 4 blocks.
Yes, but Erin, that stat line doesn't even fully capture his impact. He altered shots. He erased drives. He secured 7 rebounds. He anchored the defense and made DePaul think twice before attacking the rim. That's tone-setting basketball by Zuby Ejiofor.
And this is why Zuby continues to be your guy, Caroline. Now, prediction number 3 was about Isaiah Sellers. We said he was going to go for 20+ points and hit 3 3-pointers. Now, we did totally miss on this one, Caroline.
We did.
Sellers did start the game slow in the first half of play, but he turned it around coming out of that locker room at the halftime, and he ended the game with his 7 points, including 1 3-pointer.
Definitely disappointing, Erin, but here's the key. Even when his shots didn't fall, Sellers never let the team down. He led the team with 4 assists and contributed 1 steal in this team's win.
And that was big. It was important for the team to play together, and Sellers was right there with them, fighting every inch of the way. Prediction number 4 was that DePaul shoots under 40% from the field. And this might be the loudest stat of the night, as this in fact did happen, Caroline. St. John's held DePaul to 39.1% shooting overall.
That's discipline, Erin. That's rotations. That's buying in on every possession. When you defend like that, the scoreboard takes care of itself.
And the scoreboard did take care of itself, Caroline. Our final prediction, number 5, was that the score would be 83-64. But let's talk about that win, because St. John's didn't just beat DePaul, they handled business. And while we missed on the final numbers, we weren't too far off on the spread with a statement win, and that final score was 79-66.
Absolutely. And one of the biggest reasons St. John's pulled away, Dylan Darling. This was his moment. Now, I have to say, not a big fan of Dylan Darling in the beginning of the season, but he had 17 points, including 3 3-pointers, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. That's a full stat line.
And that's impact scoring, Caroline. Darling gave them exactly what you want to see coming off the bench. Instant offense, confidence, and energy. And when the game needed a spark, Patino turned to a bench, asked Darling to deliver it, and he did.
And it wasn't just the points. Those 6 rebounds matter. He was active. He was engaged and locked in defensively. That's how you earn minutes in big games.
And that's how you earn respect, because it's a reminder of how dangerous this team is when the bench shows up. Darling stretched the floor. He punished DePaul for defensive lapses and made sure St. John's never lost control.
Bottom line, St. John's win 79-6, and Dylan Darling was a major reason why. That's the kind of performance that builds trusts with teammates, with coaching staff, with fans, and Erin, with me.
And with you. I'm glad to hear that, Caroline, because he's going to be a big role coming up in the next few games. So before we wrap up, let's talk about what's next on the calendar for Dylan Darling and St. John's, because the Red Storm doesn't slow down.
That's right. St. John's heads into a marquee matchup against Kentucky next. And while it's a national game with Kentucky ranked number 17, we won't be covering that on the podcast.
No, that's right, Caroline. Our focus here is on Big East basketball. We want to get into the rivalries, the conference storylines, and the games that shape St. John's path through the league.
So while we'll all be watching St. John's versus Kentucky as fans, we won't be breaking that one down here on the pod.
Instead, You and I will be back here December 30th with a full preview of St. John's next Big East battle.
St. John's Georgetown on New Year's Eve, December 31st, a classic conference matchup, a game that always brings intensity. And with the way Georgetown is playing, Erin, that's going to be a great game.
It's going to be an awesome game, and I plan on being there because the conference grind doesn't stop, and we'll be here for all of it.
So make sure you're ready to join us on December 30th on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube.
That's going to be it for today's episode. For those of you keeping score, we got 1.5 right in our bold predictions for the DePaul game. Caroline, we can get better, and we will. This is Full Court Femmes Red Storm Report.